This is Algebra 2, Chapter 12, Section 9, in which we will work with inverse trig functions. Now, we did a little of this earlier in the chapter when we talked about angle of elevation and angle of depression, back in 12.1b. And we met these little symbols here. The sine inverse symbol that, remember, was second sine or shift sine on your calculator. You'll notice this time they're capitalized. Okay? That's really more of a mathematician's distinction than anything else. It's to tell you that it's the primary, the principal value of inverse sine, because sine can repeat itself over time. So really finding an inverse of a sine value leads you to a whole bunch of values. Your calculator's only finding the main one. So that's the only thing the capital is about. Now, there's another way to write the same idea. Instead of sine inverse, sometimes you'll see arc sine, and arc cosine, and arc tangent. Okay. The arc part comes from it being part of a circle, and you'll find more out about that in geometry. I just want you to see the two notations because your book is going to use them quite a bit, both of them. There are, again, such things as inverse cosecant, inverse secant, and inverse cotangent. But we don't have to worry about them. Our calculators don't deal with them, so we won't have to. You may later in life, like in college math, but for now it's not going to be a problem. Oops, that should have been an exponent, so we'll fix that right now. Not really an exponent, just looks like one. So they want us to find our answers here, find these values, and they want us to give the answer in both degrees and radians. And we talked earlier in the chapter about radians and how to switch our calculators back and forth. So we're going to have to do the problem basically twice, but since it's just pushing buttons, it's not that big a deal. If we do inverse cosine of negative a half, and we do it in degree mode, we get 120 degrees. If we switch our calculator to radian mode and do the same problem, we get 2.094 radians. Okay. And notice here now we're going to have arc sine. Okay. That's just telling us to do inverse sine. It's just a little bit different notation is all. So inverse sine of square root of 2 over 2. Now be very careful with your calculators here. Parentheses will do you a lot of good, but make sure you use them correctly. And if you need help with it, I'll be happy to show you. But you should be able to get to the answer of 45 degrees here if you're in degree mode. If you're in radian mode still, some calculators will give it to you as 0.785. Some of the newer calculators will give it to you if they use pretty print. It might give it to you as the pi over 4. Either answer is acceptable. Okay. If you're not able to generate these answers, please let me know so I can show you how to put this in your calculator so that you can get what you need out of it. Okay. The other kind of problem they're going to throw at us is they're going to ask us to find the sine of inverse tangent 3/8. Some of your calculators you'll be able to just type that straight in, just like it looks, and get an answer out of it. Some of them you're going to have to do 2 steps to get there. Okay, it depends on how your calculator takes the notation. And I can help you with your calculator issues. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pretend I'm using a calculator that takes multiple steps. So I'm going to figure out inverse tangent of 3/8. And I'm in degree mode right now on my calculator. I get 20.556. Well, now sine of that value is 0.351. If you were in radian mode, you would have a different number right here. But when you do sine of that number, you'll get 0.351 again, within rounding. You might get a little bit different, depending on how you rounded your calculator to start with. Okay, let's do one more of this nature. We have arc cosine of 0.63, and they want us to find the tangent of that value. Well, first I'm going to find arc cosine of 0.63. Again, I'm in degree mode in my calculator right now. So I got tangent of 50.950 degrees. And when I do tangent of that in my calculator, I get 1.233. Again, if you were in radian mode, this value would be different. But the final answer would be the same within rounding. Okay. What you're dealing with here is a lot of calculator work, a lot of just button pushing. And so you need to make sure you know how to use your calculator properly. If you need help with that, please ask. I'll show you how to use the various buttons where they are and how you need to put things in. But I can't do that unless I see your calculator to help you with it. So make sure you ask about that if you're having trouble with the calculator entry. If you have other questions along the way, hopefully you wrote those down. Bring those in with you, and we'll see you in class.